another view now called self-centeredness. That's a view, yes, that actually causes vision to be forgotten. And now it's a form of looking. So you become blind to the seeing when you're looking, because it's like a pair of glasses, but you think they're your eyes. It's like when it says in recovery, a new pair of glasses, we're thinking that we're going to get a pair of glasses to correct the distortion of our eyes. Yeah? But in fact, we're putting those new pair of glasses, let's say if it's Buddhism or Kabbalah or anything, we're putting those new pair of glasses on a previous pair of glasses called self-centeredness. Yeah? So the distortion isn't inherently you. You are not distorted. Yeah? It's the glasses that are on that create the distortion. And then another pair of glasses may help to correct the distortion, but they don't alleviate the real dilemma, which is you've taken a pair of glasses to be your eyes. So whatever the glasses' limitations are, you take them to be yours. You can't entertain that they're not you, because you're identified with the glasses in a sense. So other pairs of glasses may help correct some of the distortion, but the same dilemma is kept in place. No matter how many pair of glasses you get on, you put them over another pair of glasses that you're not aware of. So that to me is a form of looking called self-centeredness. And then all the other glasses we get are meant to correct the distortions of that self-centeredness. Yeah? But if they really, really did their job, they would lead to their own obsoleteness, because they would sooner or later point out to the idea that it's not you. Like, what you're taking to be you is not you. So what you're taking to be your eyes are not your eyes. They're a form of looking, like a pair of glasses, yes? So when that happens, then you can entertain taking off the original glasses, which are being seen as your way of looking. When you take them off, that's vision, yeah? That's vision. All the other ones are views, yeah? Because they're still masking the vision, which is seeing, natural seeing. Self-centeredness is a form of looking. So everything that corrects self-centeredness is another form of looking, in a way. So Buddhists look at life from the Buddhist point of view, or from the Christian point of view, whatever, yes? But they're all views, or an understanding. But if they would lead to vision, they would question the first pair of glasses. Yeah? Because every time seeing is being, carried through a form of looking, you're blind to the seeing. Yeah? You're taking, and so let's say not the original, but the first pair of glasses is the idea of being a long-lasting, independent, separate entity. Yeah? So in that view, it's in a mind, yes, it's of mind, and in that mind, even though you're identified with this unit, a single unit, your mental condition is dualistic. You're taking yourself to be the subject as an object, yes? And therefore everything now is an object to you. So when you're talking about you, you're talking about you and them, really. See, there can't be an object without a subject, and there can't be a subject without an object, yes? Like it was a famous Zen treatise, that's one of the things he says. He says, an object is only an object to a subject, and a subject is only a subject to an object, yes? So in this mind state, this conditional mind in self-centeredness, it's a dualistic construct. So what you are more like is two instead of one. Yeah? You're actually a movement of mind that there can't be one without the other. So there can't be an object without the subject, and there can't be a subject without the object. So now the mind is in two-ness. Yet it's trying to cover that two-ness by being identified with one object. Yes? So it believes I'm the singularity. But it's not the singularity. This is representing the dualism. So there's a very big, severe limit to dualism. It can't enter oneness as two-ness. Yeah? There's not enough room for it. It's trying to enter oneness with a modality of two-ness. So when it entertains oneness, it sees it as an object or as a thing. Like, I'm going to enter oneness. I'm going to merge with oneness. I'm going to find my authentic self in oneness. But see, oneness is now just another part of the two-ness, because you're the subject. and it must be cast as an object to you. Yeah? And there's no way the mind in that paradigm can get out of the paradigm as the paradigm. So self can't get out of self. Yeah? Because self is giving the object the quality of being the subject. Yeah? When in fact there's only subjectivity moving through all these objects. Yeah? There's only subjectivity. In other words, in this room, no matter how many, if we wanted to share our experiences, we would basically say, my experience right now is I'm seeing you. Yeah? Maybe I give you the name Steve, but the fact is I'm seeing, Steve is represented by a you, a body. Yeah? I'm seeing you, and I'm seeing you, and I'm seeing you, I'm seeing you, I'm seeing you, I'm seeing you, I'm seeing you. Yeah? Now, if we had 800 people in the room, I'd have the same experience. I'm seeing you, you. There'd be more, yeah, or less, but it would be the same event. And then you get 12 million people, it would be the same event. I'm seeing you. It would take a lot longer, yeah, but there would be I'm seeing you. Yeah, all right. Now that's a pretty clear statement. I'm seeing you, because that's actually what's happening. The I, representing subjectivity, not you as the subject, but subjectivity, is seeing all these objects. Yes? Called you. Okay? Now, let's say if we asked Sam his experience, he would say the same thing. I'm seeing you. But suddenly, this I I'm taking myself to be is a you to him. Yeah? From his point of view of I, I'm a you. From your point of view of I, I'm a you. From this point of view of I, you're a you. Now, where's the big difference? Yeah? The big difference is my mental process asks, well, who am I? Yeah? It says, well, who am I? Who am I is that seeing you? And I go, me. Yeah? Now, 8 billion people are in this room. They're voting, I'm seeing you. Yeah? But no matter how much evidence that how I'm being experienced is as a you, the mental process tries to combine the I with a you and call it me. Yeah? So the I, the mental process, recognizes the subjectivity, it senses it, yeah? But what it does is it claims the subjectivity and says that I is actually a you, yeah? But it's me. So it sort of takes the I, co-opts it, claims it is being done by the you, and calls it me. And with this room of 8 billion yous, there's only one me. One me, no matter how many yous you get, no matter how many yous I see, yeah, no matter how many I see me as a you, I feel it's me. And there's no me like me anywhere in this place. And it gives me an incredible separation from all the yous. So I can't really feel what you are going through because it's not me. But the fact is, every moment of this little delusion, the solution's there. I am seeing you. At the same moment, the I is everywhere. It's not located in any fixed position. It's not an object. So the same moment, I'm seeing you, I seeing you. Yes? The I is located everywhere, and it's seeing all these things that are located somewhere. And they're yous. And the I never confuses itself as a you, and never comes up with the idea that's me. It's the mental process that claims the I, and gives it becomes something the you is doing, and because the you is doing it in this location, it's called me. Yeah. So when you see that, see, this is a view we're sharing now. This is an understanding, but that understanding will hopefully lead to the questioning the eyes that you take yourself to have as a pair of glasses. If you see that they're glasses, you immediately entertain, hey, I can take them off. I don't have to go get it pried off. I don't have to go get it dragged off. Yeah, it's just, yeah, that's vision. Yeah, When the glasses are seeming glasses and they're taken, you don't even take them off, you just see them as glasses. Yes? That's vision. So while vision doesn't seem to be dominant, we offer a view or an understanding. If the mind entertains that understanding, I firmly believe it can come out of that mental yogic posture of selfing. The only one asana it's been in for all these years, I, me, mine. It can come out of that by entertaining the possibility, I'm not that. Because everything else is entertaining the possibility that I am that in relation to everything else, yes? It's been entertaining that possibility in all the amounts of time we've all been in. Whatever amount of time you seem to have been in, that's the possibility that's been entertained by mind. That a you is the I called me. Yeah? And there's only one me, not zillions of yous that transfer or transmit or allow the I to move through them, but me. There's only one me. Yeah? Yeah. So that's a sense of a view. If I'm not that, you immediately entertain, you can be free of it. And how you get to be free of it, you'll find out, because it will translate here over time. Or maybe, because it's all actually in no time, so it can happen in no time, and it didn't take any time here for that to pass. Or it may seem like it takes time. So this is about a message and an invitation that can be repeated, because it's just offering the mind the same possibility. It's actually offering it nothing, finally. Because the mind has been used to looking for something here, constantly, And if you really totaled up all your somethings, they'd add up to nothing, basically, anyway. Literally, at this moment. And why not start with nothing? Like I like to say, nothing is the gift that keeps on giving. There's no end to nothingness. There's always an end to something. But nothing has no end, because it has no beginning. It's no thing. Yes? So this message is delivered for the I to recognize the you, and then to see the lie of calling it me. Yeah? The I recognizes the you just like you recognizes you. It recognizes that, hey, this is an object that can be seen. It's called you to everyone else in this world. I'm the only one that I call it me. I'm the only one that calls this damn you me. And you can probably trace everything back to that little bit of a mistake. When the you is taken to be me by the I, then there's a confusion now. Because now, instead of realizing or sensing consciousness is in contact, even though consciousness is in contact, each and every moment that we seem to have here, there'll be a sense that you're the one that's in contact, as a me. Yeah? So it takes the I, the subjectivity, and places it and identifies it with the object, and now the object becomes the false subject. That's called dualism. Yeah? Dualism. That means dualism or duality, or non-duality, or non-dualism means not two. That's all it means. So how can a system of mind that's dualistic ever become one? How could two shed its two-ness to become one? The way is, it's not two. That's how it is. Because it doesn't take any time for oneness to be one if it's not two. If it takes itself to be two, it may try to get back to oneness as two-ness, which is impossible. Yeah? It's a little bit of confusion that plays out in a lot of time here. A lot of time and effort and doing and having and everything like that. Because you take yourself to be a body, and that gives you a sense of singularity, but your mind is in a dualistic frame. Subject-object. An object can't be an object without a subject, and a subject can't be a subject without an object. But subjectivity doesn't need any object. Yes? To be subjectivity doesn't need an object. To be a false subject, you need an object to be the subject too. Yeah? So this experience is to reinforce the sense that you're the me. Yeah? How is that going to be? Just because you think, I'm Paul, and this is going to enter oneness, and it should be an easy match, oneness and oneness, the big oneness to this little oneness. But your mind's paradigm isn't of oneness, it's of two-ness. Yeah? It's subject-object. If I'm the subject as this, then everything becomes an object to me. So when someone brings up the idea of awakening, it's an object to me. It's like a mental, conceptual object. Oh, what will awakening mean to me? Instead of seeing what awakening is, it doesn't mean anything to you. Yeah? It's all I. Yeah? The one little mistake has been corrected. And the correction is it never fucking happened. That's the correction. It's the only correction that's worth its salt. If it took time, it wouldn't be a correction. It would be followed by the problem, and then the correction and the problem. This is that the problem, let's say if you want to call it the solution, from the solution's view, the problem is imaginary. That's why it's not a problem. Yeah? From the problem's view, the problem is real. That's why there's a huge desire for a solution. Yeah? That's what drives all the seeking, is taking something that's not real to be real. In the problem seems real. That produces a huge urge to a solution to it. But the real solution is that there's an imaginary problem. It has no reality whatsoever, other than what you believe it to have. Yeah? That's the only solution that's worth its salt. Because it's not combined with a problem. It stands in and of itself. It's actually not a solution. It's only in this sharing that we're using it as a solution. So, like, the best way to get out of something is realize you were never in it. This is how it works. Yeah? The only way you can feel like you're lost is if you think you're going somewhere. Yeah? All of these little sayings are just trying to imply something. Actually, imply nothing. That's what they're doing. And when nothing finally entertains nothing, yeah, it may give up the idea of being a something. Yeah. The thing is, in the duality, in the dualism, when nothing is offered, it has to make it something. How does it make it something? It has to make it something to you. Yeah? So awakening has to have a meaning to you. Yeah? It has to have a relationship quality of this and that. That's what dualism is. There's no escape in the dualistic mind to singularity. There's just recognizing this isn't so. And then the singularity becomes obvious. Yeah? It may become immediately obvious. It may become immediately obvious and then forgotten, but then it'll start becoming more obvious as you go along. Yeah? And so the whole point of a view or an understanding is not to lead, because that would give it a linear feeling, but let's just say lead to vision. Yeah? So there's no need now to put on any new glasses to correct the distortions of the original glasses, because they're not your eyes. Yes? The original glasses can be taken off, just like all the other glasses were put on. The original glasses can be taken off. You can start seeing again. And when you start seeing again, you realize you've never not been seeing this whole time. Or actually no time. Really. That's an immediate whack. It's never, this whole story about you is just that. It really is. It's just a story that has to it's like having a big blow-up doll that has a couple of holes in it. You're constantly with interest and attention blowing it up. But if it's left alone, it just starts. So what do? All your interest, attention, and energy, you just suck it from everywhere else. You give everything the meaning it has based on you. So all the energy that could be dispersed and expand out here just goes to something and sucks into you. What does this mean to me? You get caught in this self-centered loop. And there's very, very little relief in it. So therefore it produces tons of desires to get relief, which are other forms of addictions, yeah? The original addiction is mind to the idea of being the self. And yet, that addiction will never be satisfied, because mind cannot be a self. Yeah? Subjectivity cannot become an object. It can appear to be, but it can't become one. It cannot forget its own nature to take on this nature. So this desire to become, that selfing is, if you watch it, right? It's constantly desiring to become, or it's desiring to unbecome, because it may have a belief it's a loser, or it's not lovable, this and that. It goes both ways, but there's a desire to unbecome by becoming something else, or a desire to become. Yeah? So this movement of selfing, the desire to become, is just an appearance. It can never actually fulfill the desire. You never can be a self. It can't reach climax. It can't reach fulfillment. It's always going to be unfulfilled because it can't be a self. It can only appear to be a self. Yeah? It can only appear to be a self. And therefore, the appearance, to create a sense of continuum as a self, has to keep going. So the obsession with self is just like almost every other activity of the body. And the brain is part of the body. You just don't, like, one weekend just take a piss. The longest piss you have and never piss again, have you? You didn't make one date on a Saturday, all right, this is the biggest number 2 download of all. I'm just going to get done with all the 2s in my life. You know, all right, pump the heart once, that's it. Or when you did coke, did you ever do coke? I never did coke enough where I got satisfied until I've reached my limit. I've reached the level of pure satisfaction. Thank you, cocaine, very much. Thank you. I'll never need you or visit you again. I am satiated. No, it just keeps you have to keep on taking it. That's the same thing with mind addicted to self. It will never become fulfilled because it can't be a self. Yeah? So it has to keep appearing to be a self. Yes. And so all these other addictions are attempting to relieve the unfulfillment of the first addiction, of mind wanting to be a self. Just like they say in Buddhism, there's the cherishing of self. Just like when I shot coke, I cherished cocaine. It was like my religion. I turned my whole will and my life over to it if I had one, and I just followed it. I'd match my devotion to drugs with any spiritual devotion written in any of the scriptures from any civilization. I did everything they lauded and made so noble. I did that every fucking day. Prostituted myself constantly. Gave everything away, for I took yours and gave it away to it. Constantly was obsessed around it all day. Wanted to be near it constantly. With the hopes of fulfillment, it never worked, did it? Well, because all those things are mimicking the initial unfulfillment, which is because you didn't have it when you were a kid. When you were a baby, you did not feel like a self. It hadn't been produced yet by the mental process. The mental process produced this original addiction to the idea of being a self, which has kept the mind busy for 30, 50, 70 years. Yeah? And if you see someone else who's addicted to it, and they talk about their addiction to it, but you have their addiction is to Sue, and your addiction is to Paul, you're totally bored about their addiction in 1 minute. When they start complaining about what's not happening and all the worries they have about what's not happening, you're bored stiff. But you've been listening to the same thing with an incredible amount of enthusiasm for 50 years. Why is that? Because one is, it's about you. The you that you're not, nor will you ever be, and nor will you ever be able to become. So that addiction is producing all these other desires to get relief from the original addiction, which are they're provoking other addictions. Now you get stuck with those consequences as the first addiction. Yes? So what suffers in all the other addictions is the product of the first addiction, the feeling of being you. And you think it could be different or it should be different. Or why? I'm not this type of person. All this baloney that makes exquisite suffering every fucking day. But that's never looked at. I've got to get over this addiction and that addiction. Have you noticed if you've been in recovery, it just morphs into other addictions, doesn't it? Maybe it's drugs and you stop doing drugs, then it's porno or shopping or something, sex. The mind is just, it's like breaks through every little socialized dam you can put up, and it keeps seeking what? Fulfillment. Because one original scratch or one original itch hasn't been scratched, nor it will ever be scratched, because to be scratched you have to be self, and it can never fulfill that desire. So in time, the constant addiction to what we're not is the dominant theme. People believe that, oh, if I found some satisfaction, everything would stop. They go over it like a speed bump. The seeking just keeps continuing. Because in the seeking, there can be an appearance of the seeker. There's no appearance of the seeker if what's found is already so. Yeah? If it's not, it wasn't here and then it finally is here, that's a big full-length mirror to the seeker. Oh, fuck, look at what I've discovered. I've spent all these lifetimes trying to become this. Yes? That's nothing compared to all the lifetimes you can act becoming self. Yeah? So the seeker needs seeking. The seeking produces the sense of seeker. Yes? What are you going to do if you're a finder? You're scared shit of it, the mind. Because that would mean the possibility of rest is available. And that's the last thing it wants to entertain. Because its whole life is agitation. It's not so it has to appear to be so. It's constantly agitated. Yeah? That's why it says in recovery, self-seeking and frightened. It doesn't separate the two. Self-seeking, that's the nature of selfing, is seeking. What? Fulfillment, or the fulfillment of the desire to become. What? Self. And it never ends. Yeah? You're always going to be an urban renewal project. I don't care how what your mind said, it's only a 5-year plan, and then we'll be done, and everything will be cool. Is it? Has it? Even this message, people get this message, and it's turned into the same thing as every other message. I've got to keep doing this. No, you don't. You don't have to fucking do anything. That's to me is the value of the message. But the thing is, as soon as the mind in dualism gets this, it makes it an object to it. There's no escape in two-ness to oneness. There's just seeing there is no two-ness. That's it. Yeah. Then instead of being self-centered, which is obviously agitated, obviously, if you look at yourself or anyone else, they're seeking constantly. Maybe very civilized seeking, but still seeking. I used to see people who thought they were very civilized seeking. After a couple of days doing coke, then they were on their knees looking on the rug for some fucking thing, a mythical piece of coke that was a piece of lint. And then running back to their chair and putting it in the spoon and shooting it up with the hopes, fuck. That's not seeking? Yeah. All the little socialness was out the window after a few days. Fuck it, You have a hit, don't do anything. Just fucking a prostitute immediately. Why? Because there's a huge imperative in conditional mind. Its imperative is a desire to become. Not being willing to face up to that, it just does all this other fucking shit to get some relief, yeah? So the view is held by a form of looking, self-centeredness, with the hopes that this two-ness of that system, self-centeredness, will be questioned, and then the mind will come out of that mental yogic posture of self, and then vision starts occurring, yeah? And it's not like it started occurring, there's just an awareness of it, yeah? The mind becomes conscious of the vision, the natural seeing. Once it becomes conscious of that, it realizes there's never not been that, yeah? And that no matter how much I huffed and puffed, I didn't blow anything down. Yeah? The most heinous act that I have claimed to be the doer of has absolutely no influence on this state, this primary state. Yeah? In other words, in a sense, I'm totally irrelevant, and you're left off the hook finally. Yeah? What is isn't based on you. It's based on what is. If you could put down your considerations and requirements, it would be available right now, because that's all it is available now. Yeah? That's why they say those weird statements, it's the gateless gate or the open secret. They're trying to imply something, that there is no gate to go through, you don't have to pay a toll person, there's no gate. How could there be a gate without a gate? It's a gateless gate. How could it be a secret if it's open? You know, it's just a way of twisting the little logic of mind. Yeah. So if it's an open secret, that means what? It's always available. Everyone knows it. Gateless gate. Wait a minute. How far do I have to walk through a gateless gate? Not at all. If there's no gate, how could it be called a gate? Do I have to know someone like a speakeasy? Sri Rama something. You don't need that either. There's a freedom. Now it's getting so normal to me, don't even see it as anything at all. It's great. I'm not even excited about it anymore. It's like, ho-hum in a great way, It's just so obvious. It doesn't make you anything. It really doesn't. If you become better, it's only an appearance. It doesn't make you better. And there's no degrading of you either. It's just seen that there's no scale to accrue value with. There's no, I'm starting at -5 and I got to get to 1 every day. All that's off. You cannot believe the relief. Where you can just walk in a room. I mean, how many times have you gone to the bathroom and while you're going to the bathroom, the head says, I'm going to the bathroom. Why would you need that? Why would you need that statement proclaimed when you're going to the bathroom? I mean, why do you need to be informed of what you're doing? It just blows my mind. And I remember when I was young, not as when I was a kid, but when I started to get, 5 years old, the preoccupation with me and the total forgetting of the I and the mistake of taking the you to be the I and calling it me just became the dominant theme, where I didn't have a moment's rest because the thing was yakking constantly about what everything meant. When I was a kid, when I was playing, I had no trouble being where I was because I hadn't entertained the idea I could be somewhere else. My mind hadn't entertained the idea, hey, I don't have to be doing this. It was just doing what was in front of me. It was all this time when the mental process got stronger, then the sense of alienation and this uncomfortableness in your own skin, all of that was engendered by that growing. All of it can be traced right back to that original root because it wasn't there before that. I grew into it in a sense. But if you take it to be you, you'll never entertain being free of it. You'll entertain being free as it, which isn't freedom, really. You can't get away from the limitations of the mind you're relying on. Self-centeredness is a very limited program. It's structured in time, and the whole thought system takes the I as a you, called a me. It's rooted in a body identification. It's not going to think outside that box. That's the only way it can think. So when you try to capture you in a place that never existed in the past and in the future, you're seen as a body, right? And because it's seen as your body, it's worthy of being worried about. I'm not worrying about that many people of what's going to happen to them in the future. But we can be worrying a huge amount about, not we, the system, when it's you, So the feeling of being you enlivens that possibility, which is impossible, that you could be somewhere else other than now. And the mind now just riffs on it. It places you somewhere else at some other time and thinks about it. Thinks about a you, but you call it me. So our interest and attention is wedded to following that constantly. And what happens is, it's sort of like here, you're going past the future, and it's like, here's this incredible vision out of a beautiful, clear windshield, Yet, what your mind is following is the wipers, It totally blocks out. You can't even enjoy the scene because your mind's just going, this, that, past, future, That little movement gets all our attention and interest, and very little of our interest and attention goes to the space or that vision. Why? Because we think all of those movements are about us, and we really, really want to become something. We do. We want to be special. We want to be right. We want to be loved by one person, not the universe. We want to have peace of mind, especially if others don't, so we can lord over them and stuff like that. It's all a drive to be unique and special, And yet it can never become fulfilled Because what you are cannot forget what it is to become what you're not. It just can never reach culmination. It can never reach that climax. It can never go, I'm a self. If you really felt you were, there wouldn't be so many thoughts about it. All freaking day, I'm telling you. If it was really so, it would be so, and your day would be spent doing other things and thinking about you. I swear, what would really scare you is how much time you have. People don't like a lot of time. They flip out unless they're accruing value. Yeah? They can't just sit and do nothing because it goes, their whole mental accountant goes crazy. What? I've got to accrue value. What is accruing value but the desire to become? Yes? What is all the movements to become better is a desire to become. Or a desire not to be what we think we are. Usually that's the movement. So you already believe you are something, and there's a desire to become something else. We only usually see what we desire to become something else, but the real identification is with that. I'm a fucking fraud. I'm a loser. I'll never be loved. I've done some bad things that I can never find forgiveness for. Oh, my mind doesn't want to be that, which it isn't to begin with. But so now it makes it worse by trying to become something else, which only emphasizes the belief you're that. So it's going this way, this way, this way, this way, this way, this way. Or if you want to go this way, this way, this way, and your attention is wedded to it because it's about you. Yeah. What would happen if it isn't about you? Your interest and attention would notice, would see this, but would be looking out, would be seeing out. Yes? And that seeing out would totally dominate this looking at this and that. Yeah? The space, the presence, the onness, the clarity of mind would overwhelm all of this little but, yes, no, this, that. Yeah? Like you can really, the solution reveals the problem. It really does. It's really that simple. If you had a hand on your shoulder and been on there your whole life, you wouldn't know it was there. Yeah. Yet it would have caused a lot of effects. Like any time you put your shoulder bag would fall off this one, and a lot of things. One shirt had the longer sleeves than the other, and you always want to. And you'd have all these great convoluted reasons why this was happening, which none of them would be on the money, yeah? But you would have the sense of knowing, yes, I know what's fucked me up. But I'll tell you, if that hand lifted, you would know that was the problem, yeah? You would know it by its absence, yes? You would know it by its absence. You will never know it while it's seemingly present. You will never know you're not that when it's still present, yeah? When the selfing is trying to become not that, that's just another form of selfing, yes? The selfing has a desire. It wants to have an experience of its own absence, but it wants to be there to have it. Yeah? Yet, the fact is, it's inherently absent in every moment of your life. It's inherently absent. There is not a self. There's just selfing. Yeah? There is not a self that selfing's being done to or is doing it. There is not a self that is doing the selfing or being done by the selfing. Yeah? There is no self. Both of those positions are produced by listening to selfing all day. If you're listening to selfing, you're the doer of your life. You're the claimer. Every movement of consciousness, you're the one that's doing it. Instead of when you see, it's when I see, I'm the seer. Yeah? When I hear, I'm the hearer. When I feel, I'm the feeler. I'm the haver. I'm the taster. I'm the doer. Yes? Instead of, like Buddha said, events happen, deeds are done, but there's no individual doer thereof. Seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, touching happen, but there's no individual seer, hearer, feeler, taster, or toucher. Yes? What's seeing will never be seen. What's hearing will never be heard. Never. Never. You're never going to feel the no-thingness. You're never going to smell it. You're never going to taste it. Yeah? So what's seeing can't be seen. That's the beauty of it. If it could be seen, it would be something, and that wouldn't be it. It's no-thingness. Yeah? It's not of a form. It moves through form like winds move through flutes, but it's not, you can't mistake the flute as that wind. They just facilitate the wind to produce a note, yeah? So this facilitates consciousness to have an experience of itself as other, yeah? Without that, there would be no experience. But to take this to be the one that's conscious is an incredible leap. I mean, really. If I died right now and, nothing happened to my eye, you could take my eye out, put it in a live body, it would see, but it was never going to see again in this body. So obviously it's not the body that's seeing. Yeah? It's something that's moving through the body, like a light that would move through a projector. Yeah. Mind is of that oneness. It's already so. If the mind can entertain that, just imagine what that could look like. You can't. But it's so busy. The mind, look at what is produced from false evidence. It's made it seem so real to you. Could you imagine if it actually entertained something that's true? The power in that. It would override all the delusion of all these past false evidences appearing real, like that. You would start being freed from the bondage of self. False evidence appearing real. What's the first false evidence in a sense? You appearing to be a real what? Self. From that position, how could you see true and false? All the truth that you see would be part of the falsehood. Because false evidence would be appearing real to you because you're appearing as false evidence already. You know what I mean? How can you have discrimination in a sense? You'd have a little bit. But the primary one, like it says in AA, self-knowledge avails us nothing. So you acquire all this knowledge as a self. Maybe it's even about self, but it doesn't free you from the bondage of self. Yeah? It doesn't do you anything really. It doesn't lead you to freedom. But knowledge can. The knowledge about self, not claimed by self, can be very freeing. Yeah? Knowledge about self, not claimed by selfing, not claimed, not taken to be the one who has the knowledge, just knowledge like a download. That has an incredible power. So I remember when I first started, when I was sharing in recovery, we made a simple presentation, the difference between a thought and my thought. Yeah? Because in that one demonstration, you can see the whole principle of selfing. Yeah? You could take one thought, and if you could weigh it as a thought, let's say if you captured a thought running through Sam's head, and cut the Sam off of it, because you're Paul, so you wouldn't have it as, and then have that, and then weigh a thought that's held as yours, and then see how much the thought, though they're both the same, changes by the addition of a mind. Yeah? That can open up your whole world. That simple example. One, the principles in every other thought. Every thought that you've ever seen is either held is about you or you're the thinker of it. Yeah? So in one thought you can see the whole scheme. One thought. The difference between a thought and my thought. And I thought it was so clear, maybe it is, because in recovery I'd go to meetings and people, I was sitting there without knowing it, my mind was in a sense of terminal uniqueness. And I swear this happened. I'd be listening to people share, and I couldn't get over the fact that they seemed to be my thoughts they were sharing, and my feelings, and my reactions to life. And it was like sort of, wait a minute, how could they be mine if you have them? it just went totally against the premise of being an individual entity. How could the property of an individual entity be shared by so many? Yeah? How could the property of an individual entity be taken all around the world by people I've never even met? How could they have my thoughts and my feelings and my reactions? Obviously, they're not mine. Yeah? They're just a system of thought that generates feelings and certain reactions to life. And that system, we call it alcoholism. And by recognizing that as a foreign, let's say, installment or a parasite, however you want to put it, there was a huge amount of relief came from that. And how how that relief felt? I had some distance between a thought than my thought. My thoughts were on me, yeah? But thoughts, and then I let that thought have its own nature, which is it comes and goes. My thought is enslaved to orbiting around the planet Paul, yeah? No matter how far a loop it is, it always seems to come back. The same old thoughts over and over and over again. Everything is rehashed, redone, refelt, rethought. Yeah. I mean, that was enough to blow my head off. I swear. I mean, and it seems so logical if you just investigate your own experience. If you just go into meetings and go, wait a minute. How come I'm identifying with all these people, and then if a normal person comes in, and we all start laughing at some of the things we've done, they're fucking aghast. They're like, how could you ever share that with all these people? They have no sense of identification because their dominant thought system is in alcoholism. And all of ours are. And then it gets down to a point like, I'm not identified with who you are. I'm identified with what's taking you over. It's as simple as that. I am so clear that listening to you, you've been living under the same tyranny I have. Yeah, no matter how many years it's been. It's just so solidly obvious. Yeah? And the good news is, hey, you're not that, and I'm not that. Yes? If to take ourselves to be that and then try to get better, you're still stuck on the flypaper of that fucking system. And you'll take it to be normal. No, this is a radical solution. It's a radical, something radical. It can cut like a cold knife. It can be very clear and very, very brief, and yet never change from that point on. Always stay clear. Yeah? Don't give the mind the qualities of a body in time. It's beyond that. Yeah? The mind doesn't have the limitations of the body. It doesn't. It's not of time. This body is of time. It's appearing, so it takes time to appear. Mind is not appearing. It's appearing through things and making effects, but mind is no thingness. It's not of time. It's not of a process. It's not as a mind or centeredness isn't attempting to fulfill itself. It's already complete and whole. It may be looking to express itself, but it's not here to achieve itself. It's not here to authenticate itself. It's not here to accrue value. Yeah, because all of those drives come from a false, a phantom thing. Yeah, this thing is the real deal, and it's complete in itself. So it's being, not to become. It's already being. Yeah, it has no desire to become because it already is. That's called resting in centeredness. You're going to rest in something. Either self-centeredness or centeredness. There's not many choices. Yeah? They both have, there's a reliance on either of them, either on self or on centeredness, but their effects are totally different. If you have total faith in self, you're going to have a lot of anxiety. You are, yeah? Because you're going to believe a thought system that's constantly provoking what's not happening to be the dominant thing that's happening, yeah? Because in what's not happening, you can appear every fucking moment in what's not happening. Because you're not appearing actually in this moment. The thought system is the last place it wants to be, is where it cannot get away from. And then the whole drive, like we say, is so funny because people are trying to get into the moment. You know, it blows my mind. They're trying to get into the moment. I'm going to get really, really into the moment. I'm really, 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 really going to get into the moment. That's based on the presumption that you could be out of a moment. Yeah? You are the moment. You're not in the moment. You're not the subject that's in the moment called the object. You're not dualistic. You're not. You are the moment. Yeah? And then on the other sense, people are trying to get out of self, which they can't be in. So people are trying to get in what they can't be out of and trying to get out of what they can't be in. It's a simple little correction. What would happen? What would your life look like if you were trying to get out of something you can't be in? Trying to get out, you would be seeking, wouldn't you? You'd think you were in something, and you'd be seeking, looking out, wouldn't you? If you were in like a little situation that was very uncomfortable for you, you would be prone to be seeking constantly. You wouldn't find any rest there. Even if there was nothing to do, you would be looking, yes? To get out. That's what happens when you believe you can be in something. And the same thing, when you believe you can be out of something, you're looking to get into the moment. Yeah? They're two made-up boxes. One, I want to get out of. I want to stop thinking about myself. Good luck. You never thought about yourself. Mind's thinking about stuff. Yeah. And then, I want to get into this moment. Oh, yes. See, I had to get straight, really get into the moment. Because I'm feeling it. It's getting more real now. But there's the belief when you were like this, you were out of the moment. See, it's all bullshit. All bullshit. Now you desire to become this, or leave that, this and that. It's all like, it's phony flames to light the pan so that you bounce like a jumping bean. Yes? The mind. Let me get in what I can't be out of. Let me get out of what I can't be in. Oh. Yes. You don't see a desiring? Isn't that a movement? Yeah. I don't know. So you let it in. It's just an invitation. You're not meant to receive it. When you receive it, you read the conceptual writing on the envelope. Hopefully, that's as far as it goes. Because if you open up, there's nothing there. Yeah? So the conditional mind sees no value in it. It's like it's like the eye of Sauron, in the trilogy, The Lord of the Rings. He was constantly looking over all these realms for his ring. It was very precious. This is like something he's looking for. But all the while, nothing would go beyond his ability to see, right? He would just go right over it. Just like in Taoism. You ever read of Tao? The Tao Te Ching? They always talk about the wood that's not used for anything is the most valuable piece of wood. Yeah? Its value is that it has no purpose. And they're always talking about what man can't manipulate. It's a beautiful thing. Yeah? They're always leading. They're always trying to, in a sense, break that vision, that view of something. It's got to be something. And then recognize the incredible beauty of no thing or nothing. I mean, what can I make of outer space? Nothing. That's why it's so beautiful. It's left alone. Mind will recognize itself. It will. Just needs a little bit of a possibility, a little bit of invitation. Mind is of its own nature. Yes? Like Jesus says, when the eye is single, the body is full of light. Yeah? That singularity is a vision, not dualism, yes? The way most of us are seeing is dualistically. The body doesn't seem full of light. The body seems like it's empty and we have to get a lot, yes? But he says if your eye be single, then your body is full of light. Well, your eye is single. The eye is single. Everyone here is I, yes? Experiencing use. It's only that I is confused by the you and calls it me. Yeah? The same I here is confused by this you and calls it me. Yeah. So, simple correction. See how it plays out for you. Any questions tonight? No? There can be questions. There are a lot of questions in Toronto.